Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. Today is Wednesday, November 30th, and we are in a series about divine appointments. And yesterday we talked about Moses and his divine appointment at that burning bush experience. He thought it was just another day, and it turned out that he had this big epiphany. He saw this bush that was on fire, but yet not being consumed. The Lord spoke to him, told him he was going back to Egypt, that he was going to tell Pharaoh to let his people go. That was a divine appointment. Today we're talking about when Jesus meets the Samaritan woman at the well. And it's in John chapter 4. I'm going to let you read that on your own, but I'm going to kind of give you a summary of what happens here. And I want you to really pay attention to the divine appointment from the woman's perspective. Jesus knows what he's doing. Jesus is part of the Trinity. He is God. He is all-knowing. He does know what his purpose is in being in that well. He knew what that purpose was going to be before he was even born on Christmas Day. He's aware of what's going on. Jesus is completely in on the plan. However, this woman is just the opposite. She is a woman who's been very shamed. She's been very embarrassed by her behavior. She goes to the well at an off time so that she's less likely to see people. And she probably has been doing this day after day after day. For her, from her perspective, that morning, probably just like any other morning, that after that walk to the well, probably just like any other walk to the well. She approaches the well and she sees this man sitting here who happens to be Jesus. She still may not be thinking much of it, but she may be thinking inside of her head, oh man, somebody's here. If they know about my reputation, I'm about to get scorned, laughed at, be put down. She may have been kind of dreading it, but she needs the water, so she's going to go anyway. So she gets there, and the man asks her for a drink. And then this entire conversation happens between her and Jesus. And by the end of the conversation, she is completely blown away. She's aware of the fact that she's just talked to the promised Messiah. And not only is she no longer avoiding people, she runs to the people in the town to tell them that Jesus is there, and the townspeople come running back to meet him. It's a dramatic event in her life. That morning, she had a divine appointment that she was completely unaware of. That morning, Jesus knew he had a divine appointment. That divine appointment was planned out by God back when the universe was created. And that moment was already prepared for. All the months that led up to that, all the years that led up to that, she was prepared for that moment. And that's often how our divine appointments are. Sometimes God gives you a little glimpse of it and you have a clue. Sometimes you don't have a clue it's about to happen at all. And it turns into this monumental event that changes somebody's eternity forever. Here's the bottom line. What seems random to us was completely planned. It was planned when the earth was created. It was planned for all of eternity. God knew that moment was going to happen that day. He knew you were going to be the servant that he would call to serve in that moment. And he knew that that person that you were able to tell about Jesus, his eternity would be entirely changed in that moment. Maybe they don't accept Christ in that moment. Maybe you give them a little glimpse of who Jesus is, and it leads to their salvation. But they needed that glimpse to get to that point where they get to that salvation. You may never see their salvation happen, but it's still a divine appointment. It still has eternal impact. And we've got to be aware that the divine appointments that seem random to us were planned by God millions and millions of years ago. It's been there for all of eternity. God knew that moment was coming. He prepared you for that moment. He prepared the other person for that moment. And it all comes together in his divine timing and his divine way. as you go into your prayer closet today, pray over those divine appointments. Recognize that you're just the servant. You may only know a little piece. You may not be aware of it at all, but it's been planned for all of eternity, and it does have an eternal impact. And whether or not you step up and you take that nudge from the Holy Spirit, start that conversation, send a prayer in an email, stop and pray for somebody that you've never even met. A random name just popped in your mind. You stop and you pray for them. Those divine appointments matter. And God has planned them for all of eternity, for that eternal impact that it has. Pray over those moments. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.